Sean Silva. We got to think of a nickname for you. And we have Lucy Cabral, aka the Paparazzi. And Dominic Damiano, aka Dom, is on assignment in Philadelphia. And we have.
And Joe, did you mention Joe?
Oh, Joe.
Joe is our other intern.
He's also on assignment, too.
He's a track and field meet today, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in Rhode Island.
Indoor, I hope.
Oh, yes. All right, so welcome. And who do we have in studio?
We have Chris Sullivan and Kathy Sullivan. He is a former New England Patriot / Pittsburgh Steeler, and he is also a motivational speaker, as is Kathy.
So welcome to the show. So excited to have you both in here. Sean is going to be kind of observing, and of course the team here has come up with some questions. But the first question, I want to know more about both of you personally, how you met, how you came to be. Right. Aside from the Patriot stuff, I'm interested in that stuff.
She might have to do the how we met. She's much better at than me.
Love it.
Much better at
I'm actually thinking I should throw this one at him, Catherine. What do you think? Yes.
Whatever you want to do.
No, but actually we met in October. Well, not October. So in October 2008, unfortunately, I lost my daughter to underage drinking her senior in high school, as you guys know.
Yeah.
But I had tried to go speak to some kids and to some parents afterwards, and I will share with you that my fellow high school person from Attleboro High School, as we're sitting in Attleboro right now, actually had brought Chris to that parent night that I had spoken at in January. And Chris was at that parent night. And Chris, why don't you share with them why you were at that parent night?
For me, I was at a point in my life. After football, I had some struggles and made some bad choices and headed down the wrong path a little bit. And for like 6-7 years, I struggled with substances. And I'm sure we'll get a little more into it later, but like I had a lot of mental health struggles growing up that I hid. You know, I didn't want anybody to know, and the football mentality and the culture. And but I struggled for about 7 or 8 years. And It's funny. I asked the guy. I reached out for a guy I knew for help. This guy Steve. He's from Attleboro. And long story short, he grown up with Kathy, and he took me to this parent night to kind of show me like, listen, you got to kind of smarten up and get your act together because like some of the stuff we do really hurts the people, and you know, kind of seeing where decisions around, substances bring us sometimes. And but it's funny, I sat in the back like I always do. I don't usually like attention. And
Not at all.
At all. That's funny. I somehow, my whole life, avoided having to do any of this.
Really?
Yeah, I realized in like 8th grade, if you give one-word answers, reporters will never talk to you. And it all had to do with insecurities and all the stuff I had going on. And but this is nice. Like, if it wasn't for Catherine, I might have said no.
Yeah, Catherine's our connection to you, too. Thank you, Casey.
I'll do anything for Catherine. And I don't know where I just got totally off topic.
So you were there because you were struggling.
I was like... it was very early on in my recovery or my sobriety, however you want to say it. Very early on in me kind of turning my life around, and he brought me to the thing, and I sat him back, and it put a lot of things in perspective for me. Personally, I had kind of done a lot of damage in my life, but, I still had a chance to turn things around. I remember when I left there, I didn't feel so... It put a new perspective on things, and
your life wasn't
didn't think
awful.
I'd marry. I remember I sat in the back, and honestly, I was like, "Man, she's a mess," because it was like she was. It was a very emotional early time in what she was going through, and
I guess somebody had a different.
Yeah, that's kind of how we first met. But she didn't even notice me, and like I just, yeah.
You
I
ran away from me.
yeah. I walked. I ran away from you, and then
Yeah.
you can take it from there.
Yeah, and then we ended up being in the same surroundings. So, he actually used to bring his mother to my speeches because I started speaking locally about Taylor and, making good choices surrounding alcohol and substances, when you were a teenager. So, the more that I went around to the schools, he would be there. We ended up at the same church in North Attleboro. And then my sister decided we were going to walk together. She said, you got to get healthy. And she said, Chris, give me your number. You're going to walk with my sister. And that's it. We started hanging out after that. And about 6 months later, we started dating. And then 2 years later, we got married.
Wow.
So, yes. So, destiny, definitely destiny.
Definitely.
I always say Taylor has handpicked people for me to meet in the last 14 years, and she's been doing it every day since. So I'm blessed she gave me you, Christopher.
I say that 99% of the
99%
time.
of the time.
There's 1% where I'm like.
So how many kids do you both have?
So I had 3 from a prior marriage, so Chris and I have not had any, but we've got some great stepkids too from prior relationships of his as well, and lots of grandbabies from there as well.
Wow.
So life is good, but
Excellent.
we're blessed to be able to do what we do.
Excellent.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Questions?
All right, so I wanted to ask you, Chris, how long have you been playing football?
I started when I was, I guess, you could start early back in the 70s, 80s. So I was like 6 or 7.
Wow.
They called it instructional league. So it was at least locally, they had the Jets, Stars, Comets, Rockets. But there was a year before it, like we could barely walk. I don't know if they have that league anymore, but yeah, I started playing as soon as I could, and I don't know if my parents signed me up or I wanted to play, but yeah, so I did it until I was 29, so 20-something years.
Wow.
And you went to Attleboro High.
I went to North Attleboro.
North Attleboro, sorry. North Attleboro High.
I went North Attleboro High School, then to Boston College, and then, I got drafted locally, which was kind of a shock to me because I grew up 5 miles away, and
wow.
And it's interesting because I didn't follow the Patriots growing up. Like I knew of them, but sorry, yeah, I know, play with that.
That's a
No
Super
making
Bowl ring, by the
excuses.
way. I want
Yes.
everyone to know that. I am going to be taking tons of pictures here.
But
So
growing up, I watched a lot of college football. I didn't so much. I never thought in. I see kids that say, they have dreams of getting to the NFL. I didn't. I just wanted to be good. Like, I was more in the moment. Like, when I was in high school, I just wanted to start and do my job right. And then when I got the scholarship, I never thought, even though people told me I might get drafted, I just wanted to do my job. And then, that kind of mentality paid off, But it was interesting. I went to Boston College. Then, actually, my first year, I lived at my parents' house. And a lot of guys kind of told me to stay there.
You're saying after you graduated, right?
After I graduated
right.
and signed with the Patriots, my first year in the NFL, I actually lived with my parents.
no kidding.
Yeah,
Oh,
which
wow.
was
That's
which was
hilarious.
awesome because it was a different time, and the Patriots, they treated us different.
Yep.
Like they didn't have now they got 5-star chefs
No,
cooking
of
them
course.
food all day.
Of course.
Back then they put a toaster in the mail room and gave you bagels. So
Wow.
I
Come
was
a long way.
I was getting cooked eggs and French toast every
Yes.
morning, but it was really cool. I mean, it was I just went to. I feel like I'm going too long here.
No. Go.
I just went to Peter Brock that played in the 80s. After he played, he started the Patriots alumni, and it's a group, and we get together and do things. But it's always interesting to me because I grew up. Those are the guys I grew up. I didn't watch the Patriots so much, but those are the guys I knew on the team. And it's interesting that I'm in a club with them. I kind of those are the guys I kind of looked up to when I was a kid, and here I am. I still don't feel a part of it. I played, but for some reason in my head, I still don't understand how I got there or that I deserved it.
So surreal,
You know,
right?
yeah. So it's been definitely
Did
fun.
you feel that way at BC? I've gone to a couple BC games,
Yeah.
and the whole Doug Flutie thing, and
Yeah.
in fact, John Cannavale and other
Yeah.
people have gone through there. Jamie, I can't remember his last name, but he was from East Providence. And so I've gone to a couple BC games, and
Yeah.
you were probably there, but
Yeah, maybe.
same thing as you. Didn't really understand football.
Yeah.
What it was all about. It was just like you said, Kathy, while we were talking out there. It's a joy. It's
Yes.
all this
I go for the joy.
excitement.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, what is this all
Yeah.
about? People screaming, and
Yeah.
there's a lot that goes on at those things.
There is. There
So
is.
yeah, I'm a huge football fan now, and baseball and all the other sports, and it's just a lot of fun. So I just wanted to know where you came from, and how you met. And-
Right down the street.
Right down the street. Yes.
Okay, we're gonna
Yeah.
take our first
it's
break
like
already.
30
Oh my goodness,
It's 35 seconds.
35 seconds. All right, take it out and ask people to call in if they'd like.
If you want to call in and ask our guests questions, it's 508-222-1320. That is 508-222-1320. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is all one word, 4D Sports Talk. And we will take our first break. You are listening to our guests, Chris Sullivan and Kathy Sullivan. We will be right back with more right after these messages.
Hey, you're on.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 4D Sports Talk here at 1320 AM Attleboro. We are highlighting Chris and Kathy Sullivan. And of course, my first question for you is, what do you think has been the best parts of your football career?
It's interesting when I look at my football career. My favorite, I was part of two teams that got in Super Bowls, and that was awesome. And in college, my most memorable thing was in 1993 when I was at Boston College, and we beat Notre Dame when they were the number one ranked team. And all they had to do was beat us, and they would have got to the national championship game. But I didn't like Notre Dame, so that's probably my most memorable. The most fun I had in football was high school. And I always tell kids, if I could go back and play one more game, it would probably be at Community Field in North Attleboro. And people are like, you wouldn't want to play another Super Bowl or another stadium in college in front of 100,000 people? I'm like, no, once I left high school, football became a business, and there was no, like, my coach's job depended on it. So, like, the fun of the game left, too. I still loved it, but there was nothing like playing or beating Attleboro on Thanksgiving Day.
Excuse me. We win
Love
every once
it.
in a while. Thank you.
Not when I was there.
I know for a fact, like when North Attleboro and Attleboro play against each other on Thanksgiving, North Attleboro has like the most wins.
Yes, they do.
Thank you for reminding
but-
us of that.
But you know what's funny? Attleboro's getting, I mean, you look at the Pop Warner is so popular, and that's how it starts. I mean, I don't know how popular it is in Attleboro, but I mean, it's such a, they've gotten, they've gotten a lot better, and they have been winning in the past, because trust me, I've heard about it. I've been with her 11 years, and she'll let me know. But thanks.
proud.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yes, very good question.
You got another one?
Yeah. So what would happen during practice for a football game?
I think practice was hard. I had hard coaches, which was good. But we used to hit a lot, and I think they don't do that as much, which I think's really, really good. But like in the NFL, it was a job. So, I'll just give you a typical day would be you're in the weight room at 6:30 in the morning till about 8, and then you have a meetings from 8 to 12 or 1. And then you go on the practice field from 1 to 3, then you come back in and have another meeting. So it's, it is a job. I mean, you work 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning till 5 or 6 at night. But, it's worth it. But the practices were pretty hard. My college practices were much harder than anything I get in the NFL. I had a very hard college coach who really prepared me for, what was going to come in the NFL.
Who was that coach?
Tom Coughlin.
Oh,
Yeah, he was,
okay. I know Tom Coughlin.
Yeah,
Okay.
My
Okay.
favorite coach, but probably my hardest. Like, had a lot of guys just gave up their scholarships. It was so hard the first year, and it was extreme. But he was trying to mold college kids. But it's interesting. We had at times under talent, but we had probably. I played with 20 guys go to the NFL that weren't the greatest, most athletic, but they worked hard. So hard work pays off. It's one thing I'll tell you.
Oh, definitely.
I like how you asked about practice, because I always hear Chris say that he enjoyed the practices more than even the games. I've heard you say that before.
Well, it goes back to I don't so much like attention, like, but I for some reason I love practice, because that was my therapy for the stuff that I struggled with inside. So I looked like I was well put together. I was 290 pounds. I tucked my shirt in. I said yes, no. I was polite, but I was struggling with stuff that like I hid for 26 years. So the 3 hours a day that like I could hit people and just get everything out.
That's where it came out.
Get my anxiety out and just forget about, what was going on in my world at the time. Like, it was always my favorite thing was physical activity.
Physical versus mental. right?
Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
makes sense.
Yep.
And so, how did those demons, so to speak, transpire? Through early childhood?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I grew up in a. I hope my parents don't listen to this. No, it's not. It's not a very community. Like community, but like I do help. Like things build kind of how you life for me. Like bottle up, and build my physically. But I'm getting more in things. If that's the one thing. Like anybody listening, or you're here, if you whatever, get off your.
Yeah.
It goes from but a lot of times just there's for us. I didn't know. But I heard we perfect. Yeah. Blessedly did. I was so worried. Keep Jack's stopped happening. Which I had some cool to my back again. And change time on. It's a great.
Hey, one more
Yeah, I think.
question. Doing a great job.
Thank you. Hey everyone, welcome back to 4 Deep Sports Talk here at 1320 AM WARA. We are here with Chris and Kathy Sullivan as they talk about their motivational speaking, excuse me, gigs.
Is the sound all the way up? On both? How about the last one over there? Yeah. Is that supposed to be up?
No, that's for like the when you do the music.
Okay. Someone's telling me there's no sound.
Oh.
I don't know why that is.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, that is. But all the
Is there a
lights
technical
on.
problem?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
On the
no,
other side,
I can't help.
is anything supposed to be up?
I'm really not sure.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No. But this one is.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Let's try this again.
Can they hear us now?
This is my husband.
Yes,
He's
okay,
like,
good.
"It's all set.
Yeah,
that was
okay,
it.
good.
Thank you, honey.
I'm not very technical, so.
Okay.
All right. So, got any more questions?
Yeah. So what was it like from moving from Massachusetts to Pennsylvania when you went from the Patriots to the Steelers?
That's a great question.
Mhm.
I know. And you know what the question is? I loved it. I wish things worked out. I end up having, I hurt my back my very first day there and got surgery, and then I had a wrist surgery. But I really wish it worked out. You know, I went out there and I felt they had given me a good amount of money, but I felt less pressure. Like I didn't like I liked being the local kid that played for the local team, but I wasn't a superstar, and it brought extra questions to the head coach about me that they didn't want. So, like, when I went to camp, I had my mother, you know, the whole 5 years I was here, went to every practice. I had cousins there. I had uncles there. I had friends there.
Didn't you have a big
And-
sign?
A lot of
Didn't
Well-
fans.
they have a big sign that says
Yeah.
Sully Zone?
Yeah, well, that was Chris Cornetta. That was
Chris
Chris
Cornetta.
Cornetta.
Love it.
But
God
it was,
bless 'em.
I'd get like knocked down in camp, and I know just saw it. Like it just brought extra pressure to me, you know. So when I went out to Pittsburgh, I'm like, there's no one at practice. Like this is kind of great.
Nobody
you
I
know? I
know
loved
here.
playing here. Like I loved it. It was perfect. But I wanted it to work in Pittsburgh. You know, I ended up getting hurt. But yeah, I love that city. I kind of love the kind of older town and kind of how I really do had an appreciation for Pittsburgh, and I really wish it worked out a little more. But I liked it out there.
I don't like the uniforms as much.
Yeah, I never did either.
Oh, I like them better.
You do?
I like the Patriots'
Like
old
bumblebees.
uniforms, but yeah, I guess I kind of like older things.
Well, when you say
She's older than me. But
well, when you say older things, what do you mean? Like a logo or
yeah,
colors?
I kind of like I guess the uniforms I saw growing up. Seems like a lot of them, like the Patriots have changed a
Yeah.
few times.
Yeah,
I like
they
the ones now. I didn't love the ones I played in. They had the giant thing on the shoulder pad, the flying Elvis, I guess.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But it was too big.
I actually like the new uniforms better than the
Yes.
previous ones.
Yes, I agree with that.
I'm a big fan of red, so red is my favorite,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's for all the teams.
Yeah, I'd agree. Red's like my favorite color, and when I got the Brady jersey in red, and I was like, they gotta wear this more. But
No, yeah, and they win every time apparently when they have the red on.
Apparently
I
they
think
do.
they're like 5-0 or
Yeah.
something. But
So when
gotta-
you were playing with the Steelers, were there different rituals and
no,
naturally it was a different club?
Yeah, it was a very different kind of environment, and it's Pittsburgh comes across as like they'll hit you hard and they work hard, and that was it. They practice really, really hard. They didn't. The meeting rooms, it was different than New England. Like New England, when you were in the meeting room, you better be listening all the time. In Pittsburgh, it was like not so much the meaning. When you get in the field, you better work your tail off and hit people.
Ah.
You know, and I think that's been kind of the Patriots' upper hand, you know, over those 20 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely. I like Bill Cowher was my coach, and I really wish I could have played for him for 5 or 6 years. I really. I ended up somehow getting all kind of the real strict, mean coaches. Like I went from Coughlin and Tom Coughlin. The reason I got drafted to the Patriots, Tom Coughlin worked with Parcells.
Okay.
Bill Parcells used to come to my
Gotcha.
college practices.
Ah.
Coughlin talked me up, and then I went. I had Pete Carroll, so I went Coughlin, Parcells, Pete Carroll, which was totally different. I didn't. I loved Pete. I didn't really fit into his scheme, and then I went to Bill Cowher, then Bill Belichick.
Yep.
I had a lot of Bills.
You did.
Bill
Bill Cowher,
You
Bill
did.
Belichick, Bill Parcells, and Tom Coughlin.
All completely different.
But all 5 of them are going to be in the Hall of Fame in
Right,
Canton for
right.
coaching. So, you
So
know,
sad
I
your
f-
wife knows none of them.
Well, I fit the mold and like perfect. Like I didn't talk. I was always where I was supposed to be. Like you didn't have to worry about me. I wasn't going to make all these plays. I just they liked me. You know, I ended up hurting my back and I did some nerve damage to my left foot, which I never knew at the time. You know, but
Oh.
listen to your
Listen to your
trainers if you
body.
yes
And your
yes
body,
listen to the people telling you don't do that.
Mhm.
You know, but yeah, it was much different environment out there. I liked it though.
Talking
So-
about football, why don't you say how you met Casey here?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was my flag football coach.
No
back in the day.
kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
For
Yeah.
Special
Wow.
Olympics.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're always the quarterback, right?
Oh yeah, and I still do to this day.
Yes, she's very good at saying, "You go here, you go here, you do this." See, I'm opposite like that. I wouldn't know how to run any. Like I take direction better than anybody in this world. Like I need to be told what to do. You put me in charge, and everything's gonna go upside down. I wouldn't be like Catherine Point. I'd just stand there, frozen, nervous.
Yeah.
She just says, "Go here, do this." She can direct everyone, which
She's great
Yeah.
to
is
watch.
pretty.
The team
yeah.
leader then, huh?
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Always
And she
has been.
certainly is here too. That's why she's on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's on the board.
She
exactly.
seems to be the glue everywhere she goes.
Yeah, we
For
love
sure. For
Yeah.
sure. All right. Any other questions? Sean, you have one.
Yeah, so I have to ask. I see all the time, you know, they say in halftime they're going to go make adjustments and all that. What did halftime look like usually when you're in the locker room, you know?
You know, in the NFL, you just kind of all separate. So, from what I can remember, like the offense and defense, I don't think sees each other. You go to your separate corners, and then your position coach will come over and either say, keep doing what you're doing, or he'll start screaming at you. Like everything rolls downhill. So, like, if the head coach is really mad, he'll go to the coordinator, then position group. So the person that yelled at you the most was your position coach, not the head coach. But you'd get together with the position coach for a couple minutes, and then the defense would come together for me, or the offense. And yeah, I don't know how they made the adjustments. I mean, a lot of the players during the game can start to, they do give them input. Like you kind of know what you need to do a little different, whether it's a scheme or a play or add something. You know, so I guess at halftime, at least offense and defense kind of work it out with each other. You know,
So, Chris, you were a linebacker, correct?
I was a defensive line.
Okay.
Yeah, I played every position because I wasn't fast enough to be a defensive end, but I was a little bigger and stronger, so I could. But I used to play inside defensive tackle too, and I wasn't big enough for that, but I was quicker than I should have been. So they just made me learn all of them. So they didn't need to keep extra guys. I could just kind of fill in where.
Utility.
You know, but I got lucky. We had, you know, I had a good amount of injuries when I was there to the starters. So I know Willie McGinnis got hurt a lot. I mean, he was fast.
Yeah.
A lot of muscle pulls. So I got a lot of playing time back then. I don't remember. Truthfully, I came back to the Patriots, so I had wrist surgery in Pittsburgh, my second camp, and I got released, and I moved back to Massachusetts, and I got back on the Patriots after I was cleared with my wrist in October. It was early October.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I was only around him for those 4 months. We kind of hung in the same crew, but I think he's probably, I mean, I know, I can't imagine he changed much. He's really down to earth. The problem nowadays is if you're in his position, you can't talk.
No, of course.
Because, I mean, everyone twists
Of course.
everything, and if you say, it doesn't matter what you say.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, you just hang out with everybody and go get some beers and hang up. What was the Chicky Flynn's? What's the place right before the stadium?
That purple building?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Chick-
But
I don't know.
yeah, he used to
Chick-fil-A?
hang out.
Chick-fil-A, is that
He
it?
used to hang
No,
out
not
with
that
all the
one.
old linemen, and yeah, just a nice. I mean, nice, quiet guy.
Nice down earth guy.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
Mm-hmm. Well, that
Thanks a-
Super Bowl ring is quite impressive.
yeah, it's, I'm happy.
What
I
was
got
it like to receive that? Crazy.
That's it's a totally different story.
I'm sure.
He
But
actually
no.
got arrested the night he got
Yeah.
his Super Bowl ring because
No.
his struggles
All
had
right.
started
So
by then.
explain how. That's what I was trying to get
Yes.
into. I was kind of
geez,
looking
this-
for the transition
much-
there
how
on,
much
on
time do we have?
that.
We have 30 seconds.
30
left.
seconds. so we should
Okay.
Start
Wow,
that after
this
that
is-
30
you might
seconds.
have to have me back next week.
That's
Sorry.
fine.
I had started to make some really poor choices around this time. After surgery in Pittsburgh, I didn't realize I was slower because of my foot, and my play had slipped, and I couldn't handle that, So I started to drink more than I ever had, which wasn't a ton, but it was more than I had. And that night, I had a few drinks, and it seemed like a good time. Way back from Boston, I got in an accident, and I got in trouble. So,
All right. You know what? We're going to come back.
Yeah.
Gotta take our last break. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is all one word, 4 Deep Sports Talk. We are continuing to highlight Chris and Kathy Sullivan. We'll be right back with more right after this.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Lucy Cabral with Four Deep Sports Talk team, talking with Chris and Kathy Sullivan, ex-New England Patriots and Steelers defensive linebacker, and they are in studio. Again, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Four Deep Sports Talk, all one word, and you can call in at WARA 1320 AM. The phone number is
508-222-1320.
Love it. Thank you, Casey. Okay, so just before break, we talked about the Super Bowl ring that is kind of like so impressive sitting here in front of me, and I did take a couple promo shots. But we talked about the struggles of not only getting that ring that night. What happened, Chris?
You know, it's funny. I always tell people sports was one of my biggest gifts, but it was also one of my biggest curses. Right? It's like I was good at it, brought attention. I didn't like attention, and you know, the night I got this, I got arrested. And you know, it's looking back, I didn't drink much in high school or in college. I may have gone to 5 parties in 5 years. But when I got back on the Patriots, my play was suffering, and I started to drink. I don't know why. I started to drink more than I ever had, you know, to calm me. Like I was just in a bad place, and I didn't know a solution. So I turned to alcohol. Like it's a really bad solution for anything. But the night I got this, it was just a series of bad choices for me. You know, I had a few drinks. I drove into Boston. I had a couple more. You know, and on the way home, my cousins owned a restaurant in Boston, and I stopped for a couple more to show them the ring, and I got arrested in Lexington, Massachusetts, and spent the night in jail. And, you know, it's funny, my life, this is like 2 sides of my life to a T, you know, because for 27 years, I did everything pretty much right. I listened to everyone. I did what I was told. I worked my tail off. I didn't. It took a lot of hard work and right choices to get this, you know. But also the night I got this, like I said, I got arrested, and a couple days later, there was no social media. Someone called and said it's going to get in the Globe or the Herald. Mm-hmm. The Patriots said, you got to call Bill Belichick on Nantucket and tell him what happened. I wasn't a star, but they were going to make a big deal. I guess rightfully so. And I literally called them, and I had another year under contract, and I sat at my counter in North Attleboro. I remember thinking, I got a big choice here. You know, keep doing, you know, get back in the weight room, deal with what I've, you know, getting arrested, and you know, keep playing, or, you know, and for me, at that point in my life, it was much easier for me just to give up football, you know, and I did something for 23 years, and more went into this. It might be a whole different story. You know, I ended up struggling with pain pills and opiates from my, you know, from my injuries and other things. And
so is that how you became addicted to those? It was through the injuries?
No, that kind of planted the seed. No.
Okay.
You know, I started. When I got released by the Steelers, I started buying pain pills around that time, mm-hmm. and I didn't need them for pain. I needed them for how they made me feel, mm-hmm. you know. And I get hooked very quick, and many people I realized that struggle with some of the stuff I struggle with are really susceptible. You know, most people have a trauma or anxiety, depression, self-esteem, self-worth, and you know, I just put myself in bad situations around not bad people, but people that didn't care what happened to me, and you know, I got hooked pretty quick. And when I went down to that Super Bowl, I was, you know, taking pain pills here and there, and you know, but after I got arrested, I gave up football to. You know, I guess to just numb myself for the next 8 years. You mm-hmm. know, I didn't want to face the consequences. Mm-hmm. I was really ashamed. I knew it was going to get in the paper. I knew it was going to hurt my family. I knew it was going to hurt my relatives. I knew it was going to hurt people locally. Like, I always did the right thing, was on the front page of the paper, and you know, I couldn't handle it. You know, it's still, I'm like, you know, just, I should have just, it hooked me really quick, and it was a lot harder for me to stop than I ever thought, you know, because I was like, I can't struggle with addiction or alcoholism. Like, I grew up in North Attleboro, and I graduated college in 3.5 years, and I got into graduate school, and I played 2 Super Bowls. Like, this can't happen to me,
Right.
you know, and
So
it gets
mistaken.
so many different people, and it took me a long time to stop, a lot longer than I thought, and I'm very, very lucky to be here. You know, but there's a few people that absolutely saved my life,
And Kathy's one of them, right?
she's one of
And
them.
the other one's from Attleboro, too.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So shout out to that person. I guess it's Steve.
Steve
Steve,
Rollins,
yeah.
one of our
Nice.
very good friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
He actually
Excellent.
owns the
He owns the Cameron Recovery Center
It's right down the
in
street.
Attleboro.
He's
It's
a
right on
builder.
Oh,
Falmouth
no
Street.
kidding.
Yep,
Yeah,
he's a
he's
builder,
awesome.
and he opens it up to, you know, AA and NA meetings, and they probably have hundreds of meetings there a week. It's
well, not
amazing.
hundreds a week.
It's not,
Right.
there's a
There's
lot
like
there.
3 or 4
yeah.
a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been in recovery for over 19 years.
30
Over-
something.
Wow.
Yeah, what am I thinking? Since he was 19.
Yeah, but
Wow.
Yeah, so he's
So
amazing.
talk
Yeah.
about what you guys are doing now, going out there, spreading the word, talking
So-
about your life
I'll
experiences
lead
with
into you.
all
Okay.
this.
Yes, so,
Yes, so she started doing it right away.
yes, 2 months
and-
after Taylor passed.
Then we met and had known each other for a couple of years, and I was fighting it. Like, I wanted some sobriety time under me. I didn't want to be in schools right away, and I was really wanted
Oh,
to.
we have a caller.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Hey, caller, you are first to appear on the show. Who am I speaking with?
Speaking with Louis, Catherine. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing, Louie?
That's my husband.
Oh, nice.
So, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have well. He's answered pretty much all the questions I wanted, to ask. I just want to say I'm very proud of him and his wife for coming up and stepping up and doing what they're doing. I think it's very important, especially with all the different people you see, struggling with mental health. And I think what he's doing, getting out there, to tell everybody about it, I think it's very important and something that's important for the, especially the younger athletes to listen to.
Yeah, it's I really do appreciate that, and
I'm really
yeah,
proud of
we've
you.
been doing it a while, and yeah, it is. It's kids go through a lot now, and are faced with so many different things, and I didn't understand the scope of it until we started going to school, and at first we just think this is like doesn't happen everywhere, but it literally happens everywhere.
It does.
Like all this stuff that like we go around like, good Lord, it's almost kind of like at first depressing. Like,
Yeah.
oh God, you're meeting this mother that lost 2 kids the same night to an overdose that she's become friends with, and then another, and now she can talk about this. She's like, she does meetings with, it's crazy, like in luncheons with 150 mothers have all lost. Like, it's great they have each other, but it's like looking at it, it's like, oh my God. Like, I've done a lot of these vigils in it, and for overdose awareness,
Right,
and it's a problem. But I really appreciate it. If it wasn't important to me and the feedback we get, I wouldn't do it. I do. I definitely, it's
He
a
would
struggle.
be hiding.
I literally hide. So when we walk into school, she greets every kid, and
At the doorway.
at
Love
the
it.
doorway,
Yeah.
and I go behind the stage, or you know what my hiding place is?
You're going to share this?
Yeah, I go in the boys' room, and I go in the stall. And that's
He
what I've
hides.
done for
Yeah.
years. And that's, no one's going to come in, no one's going to bother me.
Right.
Gives
And I
us
get
some
my breath
downtime.
and I calm myself down. But yeah, I appreciate you saying
Wow,
that.
that's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you, honey.
Thank you, Louie.
Thanks, Louie, for calling in.
Yes, bye-bye.
Thank you.
That's very sweet. So I couldn't hear what he said because I don't have the headset
Right,
on.
right.
I was just saying,
But you know what? You
good
can,
job.
yeah,
But
you
Yeah.
can, you could tell that he obviously felt something. So that's a beautiful
yeah.
thing. But that's why we've been doing it. So it's been 14 years, and we go
Wow.
there and we just see the change in the students, and all we do is share our stories.
Yep.
And it's pretty amazing what happens.
we moved one girl in, which was
We moved one girl into our house from New York.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she was struggling, so she
Really?
came to live with us for a little bit. So that was great.
So, what
Yeah.
are some of the reactions that you get from kids? Just interesting.
It is, that's
because
It is
interesting,
very
too.
interesting because a
you
lot
find
of kids.
Are they really listening to you or
They are,
not?
they are really listening to us. I know that without a doubt.
Well, you
But-
know the crazy part for me?
Yeah.
Like, I've been waiting to be interrupted. Like, I've heard stories
Yeah.
in every school we go in, that like sometimes they're nervous.
they never.
We have
interrupt us.
never heard a peep
Mhm.
in like 500, 600, 700 schools. Like, I've
Really?
been waiting because all these other speakers we know are like, this kid interrupted, and I have to tell this kid to leave, and this.
You
We've
did have a
never-
little third grade heckler, though. I
Yes.
remember that once.
Aw.
But
yeah,
that's
funny.
it's yeah. She gets the.
No, it's
cries.
no, it's honest. Like I tell people, it's just not about underage drinking or substances. Kids come up to us. They talk about suicide. They talk about self-harm. They talk about that they didn't realize that they would be missed so much and that they're loved so much from their families. And I think that's key. Like literally, we were in New York last week, and we probably had 150 kids come down and hug as tight as can be. So they come up to me, they come up to Chris, and they share everything. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So it's all about
Wow.
connection. I mean,
Yep.
we all just want to connect. Like even just sitting at this table here, we all just want to somehow connect. And that's what it's all about. So I'm glad you're doing the show every week for people. Keep up the good job,
So
people.
we have to get off the air. 'cause
Oh
it's 1
no!
o'clock.
Yes.
I
Yep,
can't
yep.
believe this.
Well,
We
nice
gotta
to meet
have you
you all.
guys back.
Yes,
this
whenever
you
is
need.
so
Yes.
inspiring.
Now this is. I feel very comfortable. So.
Excellent. Yes, and thank you for the
Great.
great questions too,
Might
guys.
sign up
Oh,
for
you're
the
welcome.
Casey,
Thank
thanks
you.
for the
Yeah,
invitation.
thank you for
Yeah.
coming on.
Yes, our pleasure.
All right, so you're listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk. We'll be signing off, and you have been listening to Chris and Kathy Myers Sullivan. We will see you next time on 4 Deep Sports Talk.
Thank you.